got it. Live and direct.
We're on, boys. V is on. Welcome. Good evening. Bank holiday bonanza with myself, Kelvinius Maximus, and brother Ganzders. If you'd like to say hello, brothers, and I will start sharing the link to watch for everyone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. I don't have a clue what we're going to speak about tonight, but I'm pepped.
No,
really pepped.
Nor do we. Just wing it, Anders. Me and Dave have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
We got lots to talk about. We've got some lists. We've made notes. Look at the title there: politic-king with Indi, kelvinius, and ganzders. Open mic. So I'm looking forward to this one. We've got a lot of controversial topics and subjects and areas to go through. If I may, warn you. You have fair warning. Anders, you're looking very relaxed and balanced. You're at one with the chair, your plants and your fish. That's some feng shui right there. There's some feng shui going off in Sweden. I like it.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. No, I'm okay. I feel fine here. And I'm actually looking for the link so I can share it to the Swedish round table law group.
It's in the admins, it's in both the public chats, Facebook and the domain. So you've got it on Indiglo as well.
Got it here now.
There you go.
Right.
Welcome to the scribes.
Evening all. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. There's a few in at the moment. Kathy, Paul, Mr. Stones. How are you? Yeah. My tablet's rather slow at the moment. I think it needs some more coal in it.
So we've got a few topics to go through, but I'd like to start off with a bit of text here. It's only a few minutes long. I promise it's painless and it might give you a laugh. So when we talk about rights and duties and obligations, we talk about the right to silence for us over here in England. We talk about the Fifth Amendment for Americans, USA. So hear this. I invoke my right to silence, the Fifth Amendment for USA, and that would be against self-incrimination. You may respectfully decline to answer any of the questions, or I respectfully decline to answer any of your questions. No contract, no consent. And the reasons for that are for self-incrimination purposes and obviously proof of claim. The claimant must prove their claim. So invoking the Fifth Amendment is usually done to avoid answering specific questions. It was ratified in about the 1700s and 1790-ish. The Fifth Amendment protects a person from being compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against themselves. The amendment reflected an effort to protect witnesses from a kind of inquisitorial star chamber of 15th century England. And what exactly is the Fifth Amendment to the US Constitution? It's something along the lines of no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces. Kevin's got the television on. I'm going to mute you a moment, brother, while you... Thank you. or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offence to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against themselves, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Nor shall, so that's not the rule of law, that is without due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. The self-incrimination clause generally means that a witness cannot be forced to make statements that he or she feels might be negative or used against them. The right must be affirmatively waived. The right to remain silent means you do not have to answer the questions, but it is important to fully understand the consequences of how you behave during a possible police questioning, or as it's known, an interview. The police must explain your rights to you by reading you the police caution here in England, or the Miranda rights for the ones across the pond. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you will possibly later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. So when we reference self-incrimination and rights to silence, that's a good reason to consider that. And remember, the burden of proof is upon the claimant, those that make the claim. The material facts of the matter must be presented. We also, from Kevin, got a little snippet of the CPR, Civil Procedure Rules 3116. The full disclosure before proceedings is something else for you to research and look up. And thank you for that, Brother Kevin. If you have been arrested and taken to a police cell, it is important that you consider to exercise your right to remain silent until you have received legal assistance and support from an advocate or criminal defence lawyer who will or should fully explain your rights and be there to guide you during your time in police custody. The accused also benefits from a limited right to silence and a privilege against self-incrimination, because confessions are admissible as evidence under certain conditions laid down in the Police and Criminal Evidence Act of 1984. The accused additionally benefits, or should benefit, from a presumption of innocence. I say should, in an ideal world. So in discharging the burden of proof, the onus is on the claimant prosecution as established in Wollington versus Delta Papa, or even Neale, Neale versus Delta Papa. Any advocate worth their weight in gold will advise something along the lines of, under no uncertain terms should you speak to the police in any circumstances until I am with you. And let's remember the old mafioso saying there, a fish with its mouth closed never gets caught. So
That's a good one.
You like that, Anders? So caveat, we are not giving legal advice. We are having a private chat, having a public chat, in fact, this time, in our private capacities. And that caveat needs to be expressed now. And if you're looking for legal advice and you're in the wrong place, we can give you lawful insights, and we stay away from the legal advice. I'd like to get your thoughts and feelings on that little bit, what I've just said there. Have you got anything to bounce back from regarding that?
Yes, I have actually. I can say that we have put all of that in one statement that we call Shut Up Friday. But it should actually be for the whole week.
Oh, bless.
That's right. When it comes to being in custody, I mean, it really is a personal choice. My choice would be, if arrested, just to point out, I don't stand under them. Any of the statements they read to you, your rights and that. I say I don't stand under that statement or any other either. And then I'd right to remain silent and I'm going to use that right. And this must not be misconstrued as me having anything to hide. And that's it. Mouth shut. Job done.
At the end of the police caution, they do follow the statement or the question, do you understand, of which you would possibly say no then, Kevin, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, what I generally say is, no, I do not stand under you. I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's quite a few of them realise what that means. So, and that's it. Then I shut my mouth.
And a good advice too is that you should never be resistant. I mean, physical resistance, because I've been arrested a couple of times here in Sweden, and I learned quickly that if you don't resist, you just follow. You don't have to say anything. You just follow. Then you have no problem. They won't beat the shit out of you or nothing, you know.
Just be polite as well, not being funny, even though you're not saying a lot. This doesn't mean you don't have to be polite. Exactly. You know, just be pleasant to deal with. Simple as that. Never do the no comment bit.
Because that's
never.
Answer. That's
yeah, that's what your brief will tell you. Go no comment. It's the worst advice you can ever be given. But then
that's because they're all in the law.
They're all in the same club. Yeah, they're all in the same club. But basically, yeah, never do no comment, deferred answer, so it's then they can infer that you've got something to hide. So you say nothing at all. If you don't say anything, they can't infer anything.
Now, if you are reporting a disability, hate crime, or theft of property of some kind, then it is essential that you do communicate and speak and liaise and update accordingly to address these issues. But if you are taken against your will and abducted and held and put in a car with a strange man or woman and taken away against your will, I wouldn't say kidnapped, because we're not kids, we're not goats. A kid, goat, and kidnapped, we're taken against
Wardnapped.
Some time ago, I was given this little. This is some years old. It's possibly 5 years old easily, and I was given this, and I've always kept it with me, just as a memento from the gentleman that gave me this. Notice. It says at the top, rights and freedoms, and then the paragraph is as such. I do not consent to any acts or statutes made by Parliament. I do not have to prove lack of guilt as a condition of my freedom. Can you show proof of claim and proof of authority over me? If you can, then you will be asked for it in court. I have a common law right to the presumption of innocence. I have the right to silence and will not answer any questions. Please turn over. I advise you not to use my right to silence as grounds for suspicion. Am I free to leave? Any attempt made by you to prevent me from doing so will be assault and false imprisonment. You are liable for your own actions, not your employer, and you will be charged by way of private prosecution. Every minute you hold me, you will be charged. It says here £60, but you can put in there any denomination of the present fiat system and management, country, dollars, whatever. Not your employer. By the holding of me, you have consented to this contract. Your employer is not here. You are. I am an advocate for anti-slavery, fundamental freedoms, and human rights. Are you? End of card. Copy that down, make one yourself, learn it, recite it, much like a prayer, a mantra, and if you can't, then you can carry it with you. So in addition to what we've opened with there, I do believe that there might be cause for concern with regards to the uncertainty that we all are facing going forward with the collapse of the present government, the monarchy, the judicial systems. It's all coming out in the wash. The fall of Babylon is indeed upon us somewhat, and I just thought that
we're going to get communism instead. Be brilliant. Can't wait.
Now, I'd also like to give a shout out to Andy in Wakefield, who I've spoken to today. He's the DWP possible lead claimant, not fit for purpose,
Oh yeah.
and his good lady there, Susan, Queen Susan there. I'd like to do a shout out to Brother Singh, who attended last minute half hour, stole the show of Rick Mansworth with his coming in and showing respect by putting his hands together and bowing before us and presenting his articulation with the High Court and regarding possible remedy for utility bills. So we're not going to get into that now. We have expressed and seen and discovered propositions of presentments and ideas of how to discharge, transfer via endorsement and using gyro slips and stamps and autographs and so forth. And we've also heard from Brother Singh testimony firsthand, live and direct, what he's done with regards to his management of meter boxes, the gas and electric boxes that is managed there. And we've also looked at not circumventing the propositions of equity and trust law and the appointment of the Treasury for the estate's financial intermediaries. So there is a few ideas, all may be viable, all may be correct. It depends on your knowledge, your capabilities, your skill set, how you may want to choose to proceed with that. So yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it, Kevin, for the end of the show?
Yes, it was. Out of the blue. But yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully we'll get some communication from him shortly, and we'll go from there. It certainly sounded like, from what wasn't an awful lot, and you have to be a bit careful as well, talking too much if you've got something ongoing. But sounds very interesting, at least. So yeah, fair play to him. It's nice to meet him.
If you want that card, then you just copy down the text. When you write it down, it will embed itself in your head a little bit better. And if you write it down for others along the lines, you consider what you're doing and you weigh up the pros and cons of your actions. Then by all means, you K, love and light. You write that down.
David, we have a request from the listeners that they would like a copy of that small list you are having. Is that something that we can put out on the open chat? Or?
Yeah, by all means, that's why we've shared it. Yeah, it's all about We Are a Voice, SPLS Pro, Indiglo, Anders, Kevin, the admins. We are here as a voice for those in poverty, for the working common stock, as they refer to us as, the working class, the have-nots, the paupers, the chattel. I don't consider any of you that. Consider you all kings and queens of the kingdom of heaven, and we are, our tenacity is somewhat different to the general narrative, rhetoric and vocabulary used by the legal system. So that was, I can't remember the man's name now, it's on the tip of my tongue, who gave me that at a meeting that we had many moons ago. So you rewind the video and write it down, and I'll do some photocopies.
What about, Dave, what can't you do a couple of close-up screenshots of it, front and back?
It was blurry. I just tried that.
That's your eyes, mate.
No, stop it.
Then it's my eyes too.
I'll let you kick off if you want, Kevin. Let's just read.
Oh, get you.
Yeah, and I'll let you kick off with. Let's just see if there's any questions or what's going on. Stephen's in.
Yeah, I see Steve just back there. How are you, mate? How's D? grandkids, all that malarkey.
Paul, we will have another one. There is a private recording of it that I've put into of Rick Mansworth. As you've said, you're gutted you missed Ricky. Was postponed in Liverpool. So sorry to hear that your father was ill.
Yeah,
Speedy recovery. And there is a recording of myself, Kevin, and the interactions there with Brother Singh's testimony and information redacted. For now, I've asked him for copies, redacted copies of his correspondence with energy companies and the high courts, and he did seem to know his words, the vocabulary and the legal vernacular he was using. To say he came in at 5:30, we was looking to shut down at 6. We started at 10 a.m. We've been going a good 8 hours, and at hour 7.5, Brother Gurjit came in of the Singh clan and presented himself, and just it was just poetry. If what he's done, and we've no reason to doubt it, he seemed a very honourable and knowledgeable man. I believe Singh might be Sikhism or something. He did say that in his culture they don't profit from stuff like this, and they're happy to share it, and it's all about giving it to them, sticking it to the man. And he just 20 minutes stole the show and finished it with a bang. So everybody was buzzing and chatting and happy to hear what information he brought forward and the claims that he made there. He did talk about mortgages as well. He didn't just come in and steal the show with regards to energy companies, utility bills. Do not change gas and electric meters on my say so. Again, no advice is being given here, but what he had came out, how he had researched it and how he'd done it legally, lawfully, competently, safely, in accordance with. He didn't just do it, ad hoc, randomly and have an idea. He'd seemed to have researched, he'd done his due diligence, contacted the relevant authorities. The information of which he gave and what he said was outstanding excellence in itself. So he then proceeded to go on about how he's handling possible mortgage issues and mortgage claims, and again he used the correct terminology. He flowed well, and he seemed to be very honourable and humble about it. And we was just delighted by and enlightened by his testimony. So if you've been involved with the TGBMS and you've seen recent posts that we've put up from the Spaniard regarding the Bernician and TGBMS and the conflict with Simon the Spaniard White Rabbit Trust on YouTube, then that's something along the lines of where many have come along and said we have remedy, we have got a way forward. And if you haven't seen the video by Spaniard, Kevin shared it in our Facebook group, and it's a half-hour long video, and it's quite shocking. It's an excellent presentation. But what Simon, or commonly known as the Spaniard from White Rabbit Trust, has said is quite shocking. If we look at things like the Great Reset, Davos, Klaus Schwab, and possession, you shall own nothing, can be happy. It looks like sold 12 properties, 8 mortgages, sister having a mortgage of 8 something. I couldn't believe what was given on that video from the White Rabbit Trust on YouTube by Simon, aka the Spaniard. I'll get a link, I'll put it in the chat. Have a look at community pages, search yourself as well. But thank you for that link, Kevin, anyway, from earlier.
Yeah, I've been there's a bit of upset in the camp. I mean, I'm friends on Facebook with Simon and Benicia, fun enough, but I just get the occasional stuff in my timeline, and I started, as one came up where Benicia has accused the Spaniard of stealing some sort of process, etc., made all sorts of threats. So Simon did a video going, hang on a minute, that's not what happened. Come and speak to me, blah, blah, blah. And he said, just being blanked, which always rings alarm bells with me. And they were actually friends. And I do believe Simon was a trustee of the Universal, what was it? I can't even remember what they call it, Universal Community Trust or something. So he resigned from that. But basically, Benicia, made a load of claims, which sounds like they're completely unfounded. And it's just blank Simon. Simon's quite, openly clean hands. Said, well, what's going on? Why don't you come and speak to me? But it's basically go on the site. There's nothing on there. I've stolen nothing from you. But yeah, so now he's getting the blank. But then it sort of seems to have snowballed a bit more, where Simon's sort of having a look at the Great British Mortgage Swindle. I mean, personally, I think Benicia is full of shit. All right, I really do. I think all the stuff he claims hasn't happened at all. And he'll never disclose it. I've seen lots of people, put a comments in being ultra polite to him and say, oh, let's see some sort of proof of claim, but not blunt like that. And they just get blocked immediately. So what does that tell you? Surely, if somebody has done what they claim to have done, then proof of the claim would be a piece of piss. Now, even if, let's just say, he was under a non-disclosure agreement, then that's all he would have to say, isn't it? I can't say anything. I'm on an NDA. But it's the way he's blocked. I've seen loads of people get blocked asking him basic questions. And then we had all the private criminal prosecution stuff with Hancock and all that, all doomed to failure. Nothing's come of any of it. And now he's talking about, we're just about to lay papers at the High Court and all that. So you need to listen to what Simon says, because what he basically says is he assumes that that Michael is assuming that everybody's mortgages were identical to his, and they won't be. So he's sort of saying his actual claim, 11 million mortgages are void, actually is incorrect. Because but go and have a listen to it. It's worth the 23 minutes or whatever it is. Just go and have a listen. There's some text in it. So you sort of get a bit of Simon explaining stuff. But it's really getting, when I say interesting, it's just, Simon, apart from us, I think Simon's the first person I've come across that's suddenly going, hang on a minute. Not sure about this now. Let's take it apart. And Simon is intelligent enough to do that. He understands shit. So yes. But yeah, quite entertaining in a way. But I just always find it amazing how Benicia is basically unaccountable for anything. And even when he makes claims, he won't come and speak to anybody. It all seems so underhand all the time, and he claims to be better than that. So I smell a rat even more than I did before.
Indeed.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to bring up. But yeah, go and have a look at that little. That's only part one, so there's a part two coming. If I say you can, Simon's got YouTube and his own site as well, I think. And he'll probably have all the videos and stuff on there, but it's very interesting, I see people turning on. Well, it's not really Simon turning, but it seems Benicia keeps turning on people and then won't back his claims up. So
what Spaniards put out there is quite shocking when you think about it. When you look at the simplicity of what he's outlined with regards to securitizations, mortgages, loans secured by the mortgage, the way that it's structured, and then if it is pointed out that there is an invalid agreement, and there is you go to them and point out to the mortgage provider, regardless of what we know, regardless of bankruptcy, fiat systems, promissory notes, securitized instruments, security instruments, and etc. The information and how Spaniards put that in 30 minutes round up there, I thought, oh dearie me, that is very, very bad for mortgagees, because then you've gone and told the bank, and the bank can then say, okay, and we'll ask for all the money to be repaid now. It's quite shocking, yes. And if people don't do their due diligence, they've opted to follow. They believe that he is, credible. I can't say whether he is or whether he isn't. We're not here for that. We're here for politic-king. We're talking about politics with the kings. Myself, Kevin and Anders, and we are just duty to make you aware of current topics of discussion and conflicts within the intellectual freedom thought movements with these speakers channels and maverick moguls with their homegrown grassroots processes. I felt quite sad at the end of it and thought, dearie me, lambs to the slaughter scenario. So we pay respect to Simon, and he's been honourable, he's been polite, he's been matter of fact, he's been frank, he's sourced and cited, case in point, everything, and he's even said, why didn't Michael come to me? There was issues with somebody else. Is it Ian of the Cliffords and Matrix Freedom? I felt quite sorry for Simon. Not that he needs sympathy, but I sympathise with him because I've done a shout out at the beginning of the show to some names, to some callings there, and one of them was Dime Bar. That's a handle on Telegram that's come to myself initially via Rice TV. Chris has sent me a message. I've quizzed Chris. He's presented Dime Bar. I've messaged Dime Bar, and it appears that there is some unconscionable behaviour going off with a soul called Patrick. I'm not going to say much more, but those that have seen and heard and looked at my posts in our domains, we're on that, and we will get to the bottom of that. But there is no products sold, no services offered, no products delivered, sold, no payments taken. As a voice for souls in poverty and for the community, you should have got the idea of how we operate and how we execute our deeds, and we are not taking payments for any kind of services. And those that are coming out and offering services and taking payment, whether it be for financial instruments, trust instruments and so forth, then by their own admissions on their YouTube channels saying that they're taking payments for services and offering products, then they've lined themselves up to regulatory and legal financial conduct authority over management overthrows to for themselves by their own admission. So somebody comes into our private society, our foundation educational trust, and takes the work that we and you and others have formed the repositories of, and then decides to set up a company and offer services and products and take payment, then woe betide them, it is as it is. So when I say I sympathise with Spaniard, and you see how it is, and it is a trying time at the minute, and mans are getting desperate. So let's let Albert in. I'll breathe.
Mr. Burt.
Yeah, man. I would like to bring up the revelations and one of the articles that I've put onto the front page of splspro.com, where Rishi, Master Rishi, as we like to call him, or
Rishi,
Mr. Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Second Lord of the Treasury, or Rishi of the Sunax, has said that during COVID lockdown we gave scientists too much control. Music to my shell likes, Rishi. Not often that we agree with the rhetoric that comes out here, but he's lined them up for I'll let you get in there, Kevin, but it's not.
Yeah, but he's trying to get votes, isn't he?
The last couple of years, what we
isn't it?
the opinions we've had now are being echoed by those in present government. Over to you, Kelvinius.
Fuck's sake, it's all it is. It's just bollocks between him and Trump, and they're both retards. You listen, Rishi is definitely a retard. Absolute, not a clue. Surprised there's anything bouncing around in that head. But this is all it. Oh yeah, I didn't. I'm trying to win the leadership. Oh yeah, well I didn't really agree with all that. Yeah, bollocks. How convenient. I don't buy none of it, mate. They're all pricks. They all need culling.
We was talking about informed consent. We was talking about UNESCO. We was talking about case in point. We was talking about the mistakes the governments were making, to empower scientists, SAGE, etc. during the pandemic. Chris Whitty and the gang there. We had Gove, Johnson, and somebody else there in the picture, didn't we? All just fumbling their way through it. And now the truth, the voices that were silenced and belittled and violently oppressed by media outlets such as YouTube, Facebook, the alphabet companies in general, we're going to see now everything that's going to be put forward to inquiries with regards to the empowerment of and the silencing and the basically abolition of anything other than the mainstream narrative. Thank goodness, we saw a judge ordering the FDA to release COVID-19 vaccine data, Pfizergate, so many bones of contention regarding the management from the WHO downwards, through the various three-letter companies, corporations, abbreviations that we come to know of. So we shall sit back,
Parasites,
and we shall eat our cake, so to speak. So this is just the beginning. This will just be the beginning. We've had Partygate, Pfizergate, and other such gates that are coming now. So it's never too late to get in with the gate. And we shall watch, and you shall all, be the judges and decide for yourselves. We won't tell you what to think. You can think for yourselves. So,
mad.
Where is Bert? Albert, are you there? Is your mic on? Have you got a signal reception? Kevin, do you want to?
Evening. All right. Mm-hmm.
Hey up. All right, love.
Hey up, lads. It's a bit gravelly tonight.
Yeah, sorry.
We won't keeping you up, mate.
Well, I was up at 5. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We have to be careful as the host and the guests on the show, but those in the chat room, you are pretty much unfiltered, and I would like to see your unfiltered interaction there, because we have to be careful on the live show and the stream here from the channel moderators and the narrative. But you are free to say how you feel, and I'd be happy to read what you put. I'll have to do it candidly, but we can all see what you're saying, so please feel free.
Go for it.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul, for sharing. I've answered Mia. Yes, I was paraphrasing and summarising, but they are not utility bills. They are commonly known to the layman and to the working class as bills. They are not true bills. They are actually quarterly statements. It's an invoice, yes, or a quarterly statement. So thank you for picking up on that. Mia Mogul, or somebody was it that I answered to? I do believe Mia.
Oh, I saw that earlier, yeah.
Mia Media Mogul. There is another Mia in there as well. So hello to both there. And to Eric. Bless up. He says Mr. Shaps has started to squeak as well. So thank you, Tony. It's politics.
It certainly is.
If you've got questions or comments or anything you want us to talk about topic-wise, feel free. Let it fly. Kevin, have you got anything on your list? Or
I was just going to throw this out there. I'll just throw this out there as a thought, just as a thought, okay? Because I was, it ran through my brain probably really, really quickly, sort of over the weekend. It's just a thought. But, you know, we've got Assange all allegedly banged up and, you know, threatening him with extradition and all the rest of it. But I was like, well, if Wiki's still up, how does that make sense? Why haven't they taken it down? Why haven't they taken Wikipedia down if it's giving out all this info and it's still doing drops and stuff? So I know this all started originally. He had a couple of rape allegations, I believe. And then it's turned into this witch hunt. But it was just a thought. Well, you know, if Wiki's done all that and that's what they've got him banged up for, then why don't they just shut down Wikipedia or WikiLeaks, whatever it is? Why don't they shut it down?
WikiLeaks,
anyway,
yeah, not Wikipedia, WikiLeaks.
Yeah, WikiLeaks, sorry, yeah, it's just the wiki bit. Yeah, so there you have it. That's just a thought. Just a thought on that, that's all. The only other thing I've not really taken any notice. The only real notice about this subject, a group called Matrix Freedom. I only became aware of them because one of our members and somebody, Tony Perry from I'm Not Dead, Lost at Sea, he was pushing it at first. And that's another thing that's turned out to be really dodgy. He claims he can get you, you know, your access to your CQV and get your mortgage wiped. And that's another thing Simon's been covering extensively. Guy called Ian, I can't remember he's got said, but
Clifford, is it?
Yeah, Clifford Stamp or something like that. Absolutely coining it in by the looks of it, and can't and hasn't, you know, got any proof of claim. He hasn't done anything. And I believe Simon, I watched a little video Simon put up the other day of him basically admitting that, and then also a video of them talking about trying to basically hack Simon's website and get it shut down and all this. It's all on video. It's all in the public realm. Really interesting. So yeah, Simon's been very busy man, but yeah, this Ian Clifford Stamp, or what he's known as other things. Simon gives most of the names. He has some documents about him holding all these funds, but he's in a rented. This is a guy that reckons he can get you access. You could buy yourself a house, etc. Yet he's in a rented property in Guildford, although that is an old mill, and it's allegedly it's about $6,000 a month. So for somebody that reckons he can get you access, something don't feel right, does it? But yeah, Simon's doing sterling work, I'd say. So yeah, another interesting subject, that Matrix Free. I say I've not ever been on their site or anything like that. But yeah, in the early days on I'm Not Dead, Lost at Sea there was, you know, not that long ago. I don't think it'd be going that long, but he was pushing it on, or it was being pushed on there. I'm not saying it was Tony, but that's where I recall seeing it from. But I don't know any more than that, apart from he's obviously another charlatan in the manor.
Kevin and fam, if you just stand by a minute, I have Andy in. We have Andy in. Andy's in the chat room. I was talking to him today about the DWP debacle and fiasco that he's going through. He's doing amazingly well. And I mentioned to him that you said that in conversation the other day that it isn't a paper-based assessment. You used a different terminology, a different set of words. Can you remember
Yeah,
what you said? Go on.
paper-based review.
There we go. Review.
That's what's actually set out that you're entitled to in the Gray's report, 2017, I believe. Yeah, so that's. I think you could use it as pay if it was your first assessment, but it doesn't matter. Review, assessment, but use the words review. So even if you've just applied and they go, "Oh, we want to have a telephone," you say, "No, thanks. I'll have a paper-based review. Thanks very much." But I've heard some people say recently when they've mentioned paper-based review to Pip, a couple of them have had the responses of, "I've never heard of it." Oh dear.
Take a look in the Gray's report. Is it in Lady Hale?
Gray's, the Gray's report. I think it was 2017. I think. Don't quote me on that. We have got it. I could probably share it in here. I'm just trying to think where it is. I've probably got it in several places. But that sets out everything that you're entitled to, and this was meant to have been implemented obviously in 2017, and they're still holding it off. But there's a lot of good information about what you're entitled to. That's why we use it, because we say on a paper-based review, we don't do that. Well, actually, the Gray's report says you do. So, and I'm perfectly entitled to it. So, push them that way. But Gray's report's easy to get hold of. I'm just trying to think who I sent it to last. So it'd be easier for me to find. Is it not in? It's not on the .com, Dave.
Yeah, we got all of that. It's all in the repositories and bespoke forums for Kevin's, DWP, ESA, PIP, Atos, Capita, Maximus, Release. Everything's there with your updated note, yours and Graham's updated notices, the work you've done, input from those that have followed that process, and I think it's 100% those that follow it and stick to the guns and do not take random phone calls for a telephone healthcare assessment. Those that stick to the narrative and the critical criteria. It's not legal advice, not any kind of advice, is the caveat that we put there. But those that can and will and have followed Kevin and Graham's process always 100% win the day. So it's all in there. The case in point, reference citations, and Andy from Wakefield has been an absolute legend with regards to. One day Kevin and I was having a chat. This is as random as it gets, but we was having a chat and we was trying to remember because we are, laymen, not of a legal, advisory council and law society associates. We was trying to remember how we reference documents that are not signed, and how to quote back to the officers of the office that this document is null and void, and it requires authority with an autograph or a signature, and it was missing. And the section 44 of the Companies Act, a couple of hours later, was given to me randomly by Andy on a telephone call about DWP. So I just want to say bless up for your efforts and what you've done there, looking after your good lady. We'll keep everything private. But the man's done a sterling job, and he's brought us. He gives as much as he takes, and is an inspiration to all. So nearly made me cry with his admissions of him and his good lady, his good soul twin flame lady there, and what he said about me in the show. So thank you, Andy, and you're just a glowing example of what happens when you apply yourself and you do your own due diligence and double check what we say, research and go out and get some skin in the game. So bless up and thank you, and you're moving forward as best as you can. Doing a brilliant job.
Fair play to you, mate. Everything's all right, as well as it can be. Right, I'm just going to go and Trying to think, I sent it to last. Might be able to drop it in the thing.
Pips from the Apple, yes, came on 8:30. Easy now. Thank you for that. Yeah. Toodle pip to you. The DWP case with the £20 COVID relief for historical benefits was lost, unfortunately. Thank you, Menza, for that.
What was that? Can you repeat that?
The DWP case,
Yeah.
the £20 COVID relief for historical benefits was lost,
Oh,
unfortunately.
yeah. I think it might have been appealed though, because it's still like, what's the word? It's discrimination. Why weren't we? Why was it just the UC lot? What was wrong with us cripples?
It's like anything, they have their opinion and they give their thoughts and they give their ruling, and then it's up to us, it's up to the claimant, the plaintiff, to go back and say, I don't think you handled this correctly, errors and omissions, would you like to reconsider, or we'll go for a High Court judicial review, or we will press forward with effecting legal claims for discrimination, disability discrimination, disability hate crimes, as Andy was telling me today. There's just so much going off with different souls all around with different topics and subjects, and it's hard for me to get back to, but this was just today, and so it can be looked at as such, and you will, if you stick to your guns, like anything, you stick to your corner and you don't give up, and you proceed with caution, and you believe and know that you are right, then it's about pressing and reserving, retaining rights, and moving forward, and making sure the due process is followed, equality, quoting back to them their own rules, case law citations, references, quoting back to them legislation, previous rulings, and getting them into a corner. If, it sounds technical, but it's, for some of you out there, it's easy. So,
David,
you know what we're saying. Yeah.
I am gonna go out and get some cigarettes. I'm sorry, I'm a slave under the nicotine. But I'm just gonna mute myself and stop the video. Then I'm back in 15 minutes.
All right, have one for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know. Albert, have you got anything you might want to bring up or comment on or chirp about, my brother? We'll give you a chance to steal the airwaves. Are you happy to listen?
My little legs is losing the plot at the minute, so although he's quietening down, yeah. So it's just ducking out and listening to what you're saying and stuff. So yeah, I watched that White Rabbit video earlier. So I don't know, like, he didn't really kind of put the earnest on him to prove his stuff, but yeah, I don't know whether he's partly bloody advertising the facts, don't know. Yeah, so I don't trust any of it. So yeah, and it's concerning about what come to light, basically, about a certain Patrick. Yeah, trying to sell stuff and whatever, offer services and fleecing out of currency.
Yeah, that's a bit naughty.
And claiming to be part of SPLS Pro.
Yeah,
that's the biggest liberty. Yeah,
absolutely, mate.
If these thank you for that, and much love. If these claims are true, and it turns out that there are, if anybody is able to let us know and message me either via the Telegram private messages, you can put it into the private SPL's Telegram chat we have. You can put it into the private domain. you can make public your evidences and proofs if you've got them. You know, it's all about sharing and caring. But he's not the first man to possibly do this. We've got you know, evidences of others that operate and capitalise on this you know, this game of information, knowledge, power, and proposed remedy. There's a lot out there that have come along and said we have remedy for, you know, this channel and its historical content are my testament and proof of claim of what we've done, when we've done it. And there was others before us, but not many, talking about trustee, settlor, grantor, beneficiary, trust technology. There was lots of mixing of jurisdictions. You know, in fact, even the first time I came across trust language was getoutofdebtfree.org, and their templates by Ceylon and Witterick, was it Mark Ceylon and John Witterick, and getoutofdebtfree.org, and notices that said at the top, notice to principal, notice to agent, notice to principal, notice agent, and then they had their notices comprised of, and I just thought that was the common law language and the way that they stated, you know, their notices and positions and titles or places, duties, obligations. And then we move forward later on in 2015 onwards. So if Patrick has taken and profited making a company or a site and offering £500 for remedy for a certain set of areas of law, then another £500 for this area of law, and then £200 for something else, and you've had an encounter with this man, and the claims made by Chris Rice via Dime Bar was that they've taken money and not provided products and services, and they are saying they're affiliated or operating with the remit under the, you know, wing of, when they're not, and they haven't, and we would never do that. We haven't done that, and we've never sold a trust ever. I've been asked countless times, you know, can I buy a trust off you? And my answer is no. We will teach you simply how to understand trust law, what equity is, or how to read and know what common law is, the civil procedure rules, the pre-action protocol, the vernacular of the legal society, contrasted to English language, public, private, legal, ecclesiastical, and we go down that route. And then afterwards you can look at possibly donating for a trust, because if you was to want to buy a trust, and we're a voice for people in common law, we're a voice for people in poverty, then a trust typically starts at £2,000. Nobody can afford that. Job seekers, disability, working class, you can't afford that. So the only way to get that technology out is to teach you how to use it, and how to for you to express that. We evidence that with the Knight versus Knight case law, and starting to encompass the three certainties: certainty of intention, subject matter, and of objects. And we gave you, the trust gave you for free supplementary information to complement the common law with equity. We pointed out that equity has been hidden from us. You know, we were looking at common law, we were looking at Magna Carta, we were looking at British Constitution, all the wrong places, and all the lower types area of defence, when we should have been going to the top as kings and queens. And the fusion of equity in the 1873-75 adjudicator, as I've previously said, which is why you should research and use your own due diligence, because as a autistic, dyslexic man with not much time and a busy head, we make blunders and you know, errors and omissions. So we give you the law of trusts, and we give you the information, and we point out that a last will and testament doesn't involve a barrister, a solicitor, a court, a judge, an attorney, a notary public, or anything like that. We pointed out that one of the scribes on here that's now passed away, God rest her soul, Nonna Yomus, commonly known as Carol from Scotland, she listened to what we said for free. She didn't pay anything. She expressed her own private express trust in the form of a last will and testament, handwritten by herself, autonomously, you know, authority and autographed. And that will that she, unbeknown to her, made out, we'll say in January of 2020, came into effect in August 2020 when she passed away, waiting for her mandatory reconsideration and the DWP and subsequent agencies to pull their finger out. She died sick and ill in hospital, waiting for payment. And God rest her soul there, you know, which she listened to, and she got off her arse. Well, she got pen to paper and she did research. She emailed us. She had chats with myself and Kevin. She expressed a private trust in the form of a last will and testament, and she saved her estate. Unbeknown to her, it was 8 months down the line, and that trust come into effect. So it didn't cost her £2,000. We didn't charge her any money. She donated to the trust because she was very grateful and happy to have had that information and to be duly informed. And that's how it works. People will come along and they will try to profit, and they will capitalise on the fear and the desperation of mankind. But you know, what would the great mystic Jesus there say about all of this capitalism when he got angry to kick the money changers out of the church and so forth, you know? So that's the obligations and duties that we operate on under the sacred contract, and we will never take money. We will never sell you a trust. And anybody that says they are from SPLS Pro, Indiglo, or wherever we have outlets, do not believe them. Come and tell us, message us. We're contactable, we reply. We have public outlets, we have public chats, we have live casts, we have emails that we answer. Well, I do. I'm not sure about Kevin there. It's a bit lazy like, but you know, the point being. Sorry, Kevin.
That's true. Well, it's all out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, everything's out there. There's videos. Don't even have to use paperwork anymore. And you come to me. I'm trying to do other things.
I know, bless. So, with regards to trusts as well, we talked about, we promoted 8 weeks in advance the seminar at Rick Wandsworth, and we said that we would talk about family trust, effective family estate administration and trust, which we did do. And we emphasised at that seminar, as we keep emphasising on these casts and through our domains, for you all to research the last will and testament, a living will as well, and look at what codicils are. If you already have got a will and you don't fancy writing a new one, then you can perhaps make amendments to that. And then supplementary to that, with regards to family, children, social services, protection of family titles, rights, assets and interests there. Powers of attorney are something you need to look at. Powers of attorney, the various levels of power of attorney, for what may suit you for unforeseen eventualities in the future where you may not be able to competently, coherently make decisions for yourself for an undetermined period of time. So therefore your assigned powers of attorney that you have in place, alongside the applicable wills, revocable, irrevocable ones, you know, deeds and testaments that you may trust, essentially, that you express. Those are the most powerful forms of estate administration that we can tell you to look at simply, effectively, cheaply, and without using sort that cat out. Good Lord.
I'm going to in a minute. I'm going to wring his neck. Jesus. Come on then.
For free. And without a solicitor, a lawyer, you know, a notary and all that. You can do it yourself, or you can come to our community and you can ask us for guidance. We have all the relevant information in our bespoke forums and repositories, and you get the option to download a last will and testament, a very basic form, from our private domain when you join. We've just released a TV licensing document that Greg and myself have cobbled together. This needs to be said with regards to the £159 licensing fee that is due for watching live streams and BBC iPlayer and so forth. We are not here to aid and abet you to be classified as breaking the law, but there is various reasons why people do not need a TV license. And when I saw and when it was brought to me that most of the prosecutions and the criminal acts done and enforced are by the feminine energies, by ladies, being found guilty. The females of society, for some reason, are easy pickings. They are obviously the low-hanging fruit for the TV licensing agents that come to the door and force their way in, and then find out, or they may be let in because, you know, mum's busy, she might be breastfeeding, door open, on a single mum on her own, and unbeknownst to her, the man's, you know, doesn't make peaceful entry, and then sees that they are watching a television without a license. Then we've given you a document for free that's in our Telegram groups. We can't upload it to Facebook because it seems that Facebook have taken all the files out of our group, and we haven't got the option to upload them, or we would have. So that's something we'll talk about later. But from our private domain and from our public and private Telegram chats, you can find that document, you can read through it. And if it turns out that in your particular individual circumstances you do not qualify to pay for a television license, then we give you case in point and the links and the reasons of why you wouldn't need to pay for a license, and how to inform them online very simply in a matter of minutes that will protect you for a couple of years. Then the TV licensing website does say that because you've declared that you don't need a TV license and you don't watch iPlayer and live broadcast streams and shows, channels, whatever, then there may be a visit coming to your door. And we've explained that the various government authorities, independent non-government authorities, sorry, regulate how to protect your castle door. And we pointed out about visitors seen strictly by invitation, appointment only, and that all visitors are seen by appointment only. We've looked at giving you the notice of removal of implied rights of access, and we've given you all the case in point references, .gov and non-government websites, TV licensing websites. So everything we've put in that document we've used and done, and people have found that you know, we've already done this a few times. Various people, household souls that I know, don't watch BBC or iPlayer. Some of them don't speak English. You know, I've got a lot of European, Middle Eastern, you know, friends that aren't interested and don't watch it, and they have a TV, a laptop, a phone, and etc. But they do not qualify to have a TV license. So the area is a little bit grey when you look at it from a TV licensing point of view. And in that document you will see a TV licensing campaign slogan from the 1980s that Greg commented on and said it looks like a macabre pre-Saw type picture about the TV licensing detective vans are in your area. You know, can you remember that from the 80s? I don't know, but
yeah,
there you go, enjoy that.
Load of nonsense.
If you don't qualify to
Sorry, Dave.
license, then that's how you would feel free to look at that complimentary document. If you are watching live streams from the BBC and iPlayer, and you tell them you don't need a license and you get caught, I have no liability. It's not on me. You've got to sort that out yourself. All we're doing is pointing out, if you do not qualify to have a license, then these are the ways that you tell them, manage your door, manage security. And in this day and age, there is lots of what do we call them? Kevin and I did a 4 or 5 video presentation about security, easements, property rights, titles, door security. It's on the home pages of splspro.com, and you must manage your door security very, very wisely, because there's a lot out there now looking to make money out of the vulnerable, and you know, you need to protect yourselves, and we want you to protect yourselves. I yield.
Yeah, I do believe that if you mention the removal of implied rights of access and just talking to them on the phone, they've now got a removal of implied rights of access department.
Really?
Apparently so, yes. Apparently so. So, but I just wanted to say quickly, just while Bern's still around. Oh, Bern, mate, how are you? Bern, I've got a little document that I want to send you for you to have a look at. but I can't remember what your email is. I can get it off Dave, or you could send it to me privately. I don't know, on a text or something, mate. If that's all right with you, it's only a short document, but I'd just like you to run your eye over it. I'll explain a bit more when I send it to you. It's a first attempt by a friend of mine at certain language, shall we say. So I said I'd send it up to you. I'd speak and send it up to you so you could have a quick glance at it and see what you think and correct it if necessary. So anyway, that was that really. So I wanted to speak to Bern while I remembered.
He's in the SPLS admin chat on Telegram, so you can click on there
Yeah.
and do private messaging or get him through there. I have got his email, but it's been a while. I'll have to dig it out. But
Well, I've probably got it in my address book, but I can't remember, what it
yeah,
starts with or anything. So it won't come up as an option as I'm typing, if you see what I mean. But I'm sure if I actually opened up the address book, which I haven't got a clue how to do that, I'd probably find it and go, oh, there he is.
Paul of the Blacks, could you enlighten us and give us a bit more information when you've put Matrix Freedom is a scam, I had a narrow escape? Could you summarise that, encapsulate what it is? And thank you for that. Oh, I've just posted some intel on him. Thank you then, Brother Paul. All right, I'm scrolling down now. Sandra,
Nice one, Bern. Thanks, mate.
legalese is very complicated. It is. It's the language and vernacular, the vocabulary of the Law Society, of the Templars of inner London. And so, yes, we've learnt to recognise it. We've learnt to treat it with the contempt it duly deserves. It's a weapon of mass distraction, and with it looking like English, sounding like English, and writing like English, but coming with its definitions and implied meanings from Black's Law dictionaries, of which they're on volume 10, or they were when I last looked. So we recognise that the society gives you a definition and an implied meaning of the word in version 1, edition 1, volume 1 of Black's Law, but then they can change that through volume 1 to 10 to suit them. That again should sound alarm bells when they change the meanings and implied, definitions and implied meanings of words, and they're on the they're not always, but they add new words too. But it's just you be careful with that, yes. And the language of the Law Society is, we need to create a language and a lexicon, a sovereign language and lexicon for ourselves, other than the Oxford English. Or, I would say to you that we all speak our mother's tongue. Mum is the one that tells us and teaches us phonics, to speak when we're a baby, the first words that we speak when we're a youngster, subsequently before we get into in infant and primary schools, and then up to advanced literature language GCSE grade, which is actually legalese. If we're real about it, as real as it gets, is the language that we commonly speak in England, as we are all considered in commerce, and the UK of Great Britain corporation, and the government corporate government of the UK is, the corporations they're running are all commerce and commercial law, and we're all, as the age of 18 in England and the UK especially, considered adults and legally responsible, legally liable, then we don't stand a chance. So when you say legalese is a complicated language, like when we interact with officers, constables, officers, judges, various higher levels of government, doctors, teachers, they're all speaking legalese. The statutory legislative arm of the government is written in legalese. When we're filling in such things as a job application form and you're submitting it, that would be in legalese, and you're going from a private, lawful womb man, authentic being, living soul, to be an employee, and you are submitting a form. You are agreeing to be part of that corporation's remit and under their rules and the duties and obligations of statutory legal legislation. When you agree to be a person, a Mr. and Mrs., the all caps, the legal personality, as it is known, not so much the straw man or the legal fiction. It's actually at law called a legal personality, you know, which is, you research that, you'll find it to be true, which we know as straw man and legal fiction. Then you are considered to be an employee of the United Kingdom government, and therefore subject to the terms and conditions of that corporation, which is your employer. You are the employee, unbeknown to you, when you, as it's called previously, commit joinder and accept that name, you know. So fair point.
Fair point, well made. I have a person who I may utilise when it is of benefit to me. Thank you for explaining.
Rick Mansworth Mensa was a success. It was eventful. It was full of good souls. We had an excellent venue. Thank you to Albert for sorting that out.
Yeah.
We did appreciate that, and much love to you for that. You pulled a blinder, and we had fun, didn't we, Kevin?
Indeed, we did. Yeah, it was a lovely venue. Absolutely ideal, really, and nice sort of place in, sort of out of the way, really. But it was a nice venue, good size, could get plenty of people in there. So it was very good. Much kudos to Albert for sorting that out. It was I enjoyed it up there. It was a good. It was a fair number. We've done with some more, but it's the same old thing. Everybody says they're coming.
Yes,
and that was a freebie. So you know,
I can book it again whenever we need it. So
yeah, I think that's going to happen, mate. That's for sure. It was a great little place to get to and use, and yeah, well done, mate.
I've just
no
put a
drama.
link. Oh, go on, Albert.
No, I was just saying no drama.
No drama at all. We'd like to go back there and maybe have like a Christmas informal get together, get some equipment down, some 1210s maybe, some vinyl, some CDJs, a few speakers and amps. They've got bars, and the me and Albert have
lasers, smoke machines.
Yeah, whatever we can get there. I would say would be an ideal venue for a private party for us all. The Albert and I had a chat with the publican, the landlord there, and he was quite accommodating and said he'd look after us, and you know, he needs to keep the bar open and he needs to keep funds flowing, but he's not a greedy man, and he'd work with us. So that was a nice little after brother Gurgit coming in and telling us what he told us at the end of the seminar. That was a nice little offer from him, so I think we will consider that and possibly accept it.
Yes.
We have still got the venue at Birmingham, so Mensa, we've done a seminar at Birmingham a few times. We've been to Wimbledon, we've been to Rick Mansworth. I'd like to go Sheffield, Scotland, and possibly Ireland as well. We'd like to have the means and the resources to travel far and wide and preach if we can. So if anyone can assist with venues, locations, then contact us and let us know. Email me. I'll put the email in for those that are new and don't know, and let us know. Get in touch, and we will make it happen. The trust will cover the costs, and we will deliver our usual standard of entertainment as it is. There's the email in the chat. I've put a link in the chat with regards to the presentations myself and Kevin did some years ago. Property protection, home castle rights. If you scroll up in the chat, you'll see a link, or just go to the home pages of splspro.com and click the article, which is, I think, it is on the home page. I believe it's number 6. All right, and watch that as well, please, and discover how to secure your castle. And we will look to entertain you in a city or town near you very, very soon.
Yeah, we don't mind travelling.
Kent, media mogul, maybe Kent, if you can get us venues. It's another southern venue, but yes, that's fine. We could, we can look at anywhere really, as long as it's viable, and we can get some souls there, so it's worthwhile. Then by all means, we'll go through. I'd like to get in touch with Truth Juice Birmingham. Brother Paul was on about it some months, possibly a year or so ago. I'd like to revisit that option and get Kevin and I tandem on a Truth Juice. Anyone that's in touch with promoters or the open mic Truth Juice type nights, then I think that would be a good option as well.
Yeah, we'll have a go.
Albert, you're welcome. Any of the admins, it's I'm just volunteering myself and Kevin because I know you'll be up for it. But any of the admins, Bert, Ganzders, Sweden, so it's far for him. Claire's taking a bit of time out. Vernon, Simon, PJ, myself, Kevin. Replay 10 years on, we was looking at the straw man nature of the cage and the John Harris presentations there via various performances, presentations he did some years ago. So even though they're old videos, I don't mind telling you that, and you can see and hear from the way that I and Kevin and these chats go, that I learned an incredible amount of information through It's an Illusion too. Despite it being 10 years plus old, we needed to reflect on where we was 10 years ago and where we are now, and what we've done, what successes we've had, where our strengths are, what we've learned to use, why we use that, how we, like with the videos of me talking to debt collection agents, police officers, authority of such coming to houses. Both of the videos that I've put up recently are old videos. I was crazy, passionate, a little bit hyper still back then, and not as calm and tranquil as in peace.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And you can see that we provide you the proof of the claim where. It seems that the officers are saying, the agents have a warrant. They're here to seize property. There's nothing you can do. We're here to stop a breach of the peace. They're taking goods. Get ready. And by the end of both calls, you will find that they all leave. That was learned mostly from John Harris's presentations and talks and the way that he presented certain truths of the matter. So despite the hearsay and conjecture and the untimely exiting of brother John from the Harris, son of Harris, I picked up and was inspired immensely, and the language and the positions and the angles of attack and defence that we use and that we promoted sunk into my head, and I've built up and stood on the shoulders of giants, and he was one that is very well known in the circuit, but unfortunately exited. If he did pass away, before his time, he was taken from us, or perhaps he found the administrative remedy for the legal financial surety and bondage of the Seta KV and so forth, and he perhaps went through a civil death and exited into the private and is under a private identity, and he's signed a non-disclosure agreement, and he got paid off and given an equity card, and perhaps he's living the high life somewhere, literally the high life. But who knows? I don't know, but I'm just saying. So the comments there are great, and it's nice to remember who he was and what he did and how he inspired a great many of us, and from 10 years ago where we are today, and how we are able to use the common law system, the legal and lawful system of England and Wales to our advantage.
But he is still alive, you know, because if he would be dead, there will be many people within this movement that would know about it, and they would testify and say, oh, we're really sorry we lost this guy. We never heard anything like that, you know. So I think he was just like sneaking away a bit, you know.
Well, I did hear on his deathbed a kind of statement that says basically wish he never went up that path. Wish he never disclosed it. Yeah. But that's all I heard. I don't know where that comes from. So.
But then if someone's offered you a payout and of millions of pounds, you know, but money beyond money, you're going to say what you're told to say. Then let me add this. When we are dealing with judges, when we are dealing with the dark, Kabbalistic, Satanistic societies and the bloodlines that we've come to know of, yes, those of you that pay attention to my posts, to our documents, that follow our groups and look at community, look at my post recently on this community page of Indiglo, we are dealing with Masonic order, the information and the knowledge, the management, quoting Maxwell, Jordan, son of Maxwell, house of Maxwell. We're quoting Bonacci of the Santos, you know, we're quoting great legends and thought leaders that have gone before us. And David Icke, for instance, I've said, you know, things about Icke, but ultimately he's laughing now. He's having the last laugh, and good on him, you know. So we are dealing with a dark, Kabbalistic, Satanistic cult, and black is its favourite colour, and Saturn is its planet, Saturn the eater of children. We can go back through the monarchies, and we've done that, you've done that. We know who and what we're fighting. So if you get threatened, or your family and you get threatened, and they say, it's like this, you take this envelope and you disappear, or you carry on at your will. The men in black have come. You've been taken away. You've been put into a room. You've been beaten, tortured. I don't know. But, you know, just because someone's allegedly seen a UFO and a crashed object and these disclosures that are happening now, yes, they get a visit from. So if you're giving out top level Masonic 10 degree and above knowledge, and it's shafting the system, it's in the system's interest to get rid of you. And so these are the areas of which, when you're going to these venues and you know, temples of doom, these are the agents of doom, the agents of Saturn. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say. So perhaps he was forced to say those things. Who knows?
Satan.
Indeed.
Okay, David, sorry. You know, I was scratching my head the other day from the questions I asked the Treasury. Remember what we were speaking about and what I posted in admin?
Yeah.
Total tangent they went off on. I was saying to me, like, am I trying to endorse by the national insurance number and other such things? And it was totally not what I asked them.
Yeah.
I just asked them a few critique questions, the name and currency as a whole, as a debt instrument, all that. And they sidestepped everything because they don't like, you know, they don't like it happening.
Yeah, I've given you some. Well, I'm going to crack this nut with you with regards to getting full disclosure on the birth certificate, and we can do that together. I might tag team you and also do a freedom of information request to the offices there, and see if they can rebut my and yours combined between us. I'm sure we can articulate it in such a way that it would be irrefutable and require of them to answer under the threat of perjury, and with regards to full disclosure. And if any generic replies are given with regard to that, then they shall be held to account, much like what I did with the ICO. The ICO, I reported Julie Leonard for misconduct in public office, for failure of supplying a subject access request, of which I wanted all the data pertaining to my driver and interactions from myself, David, privately, and my estate, Jeremita, to them. And the ICO turned around and said, no, I'm sorry, you spoke to the DVLA more than 12 weeks ago, so on that basis we cannot look into this because it's been too long. So I had to reply, okay then, and I was angry and I was annoyed and I was wanting to get my own way with them. So rather than be reactive, I replied and gave an intellectual, calm response, and I read through that response 5 times and left it a day before I sent it. Whereas before it would have been keyboard warrior and send with emotion and anger, and not so eventful as what I got when I did it this time and years later. And I just said, I'm very sorry to hear that the independent authority and regulator of data has got its hand tied in such red tape and bureaucracy. I find it absolutely unbelievable that that you as the regulator have got your hands tied with such things as it's been longer than 12 weeks, so we can't address this crime. I said English and Welsh law doesn't operate like that. When there is a crime, there is a crime. There is no limitations put on that crime, and therefore I brought to you evidences of, in their words, crime. There is a victim, the estate, and it's not so much in true sense of a crime, but illegal conduct, failure, breach of trust, breach of duties, misconduct in office. So they are legal and controversies, but they reference it as crime in their language vocabulary with the ICO. And they said they couldn't, and then I got a response back saying, oh okay David, I didn't get a response back to my email. I just got a response saying, this is what we're saying to you, here's the attachment, and this is the copy of what we've sent to Julie Leonard. We have told her there is work to be done, but in the first instance I was told there's nothing we can do, it's been too long. So again, you have to be persistent, be calm, and think like a game of chess, so many moves in advance, like when you are dealing with judges and civil controversies and claims and etc. Then you need to be thinking, you can't just be in the moment, it has to be planned out like a military operation to some extent. So there you go.
I have a question for you, David.
Yeah.
That we was discussing earlier in our Swedish law chat. How do you take an judge to court? What procedure should you do? We know how to do it in Sweden, but I wonder how you do it in England, for example. What steps you have to go?
I'm not answering that live on Tube, so that's like the $1 million question. But no, we will do. We'll entertain it. Kevin's disappeared. I was going to say, Kevin, it's over to you. Right there, let me just check something. Oh, he's here, Albert and Kevin.
I am here. I'm just outside. Well, if a judge is misbehaved, then that's surely through judicial review, is it not?
Well,
then if he found to have misbehaved.
He's asked an open question there, because why would you want to take a judge to court? Before we get into that, you want to take a judge to be looked at and to be examined for his processes. So how would you complain about the dealings that the judge has had with you, and why would you do that? You don't just take a judge to court. Somebody's put in the comment, you don't make complaints, but unfortunately you're right, you don't make complaints, we make claims. But before we make a claim, as per the alternative dispute resolutions put in and instigated by Lord Wolf in the 1990s, before you go into a legal affair, battle and court, you would be required to look at mitigation through dispute resolution before you mediation, which is something I need to bring up regarding what we're doing with families. But you would look to mediate that and ask them to look at the claim, the case, the conduct, their performance. Again, you would highlight their errors and your point of view and put it to them to reassess their, like anything. I think you've made a mistake. These are the reasons why. Would you care to look at your decision again? Thank you very much, kind of a thing. No judge's decision is final. Know that. So therefore you have to follow the pre-action protocols and the civil procedure rules for here in England on how to address that. Once you've done that, and if you haven't got anywhere with it, then I'm afraid, because it's a gang and a club and a law society and full of masons and X, Y and Z, then they will push you to the final hurdle. So then you would need to privately prosecute them, private prosecution, and litigate them some way. Yes, through the courts and the high courts, not the lower, administrative ones.
No, that's what we found out too. That you first have to do the complaints on him, and here in Sweden you go to something called ombudsman. Ombudsman, that is actually a Swedish word. So and then when you've been there, then you go back, then you go to the police and you do a complaint on him, and then that has to go to the court, but it can't go to the lower court. It has to go to the higher court.
Okay, thank you for that, Anders. I'm just answering Mia about venue. There we go. Yeah, so there is processes. We have got the police at play as well to report to, but the police obviously may be reluctant to do so in some instances. It's all about how you handle yourself and your business and how you would look to do so. So it doesn't have to be private prosecution. You said, how would you take a judge to court? The same way you take anybody to court. If all are equal in the eyes of the law and there's been a wrong and misconduct or failings, breaches of duty, obligations, then the methods are the same for anybody, no matter their title and position, including the king allegedly, but perhaps not the king, as such. You have a hard time doing that one, the Queen, in this instance. But
can I just add, if you're in court and you're not happy with a decision, it's best to ask the judge right there and then whether you can appeal it. Yeah, because to have it noted in that, and then he basically, I'm not advanced at it, but they say basically that it's down to him to give the permission.
There's not much equality and fairness and impartiality there, then, is there? If he's going to have the final say on the fact whether or not he's, you've got to remember rights, retainment of rights, duties, obligations, and I'm not disputing what you say, Albert. If you're asking somebody, do you have the right? Then that's already playing into their hands, isn't it? You should know what rights you have. Not you, Albert, but I'm just saying, as you brought it up.
Yeah, no, in Kemble.
You should be confident. You should be able to say, well, in my opinion, and in accordance with the common laws of England and Wales, it is my opinion that, and I do believe, and the more Latin and civil procedure rules, pre-action protocols, and certain things like that, duties, obligations, requirements, legislation, county court, magistrates act, certain things, that it doesn't matter. We used to say oaths and bonds and surety and anger and vexation, and we've come up 10 years since John Harris. We've come leaps and bounds, and we should be immensely proud of what we can do. But even though we know what we know, and we've learned what we've learned, and we've adjusted, and we are democracy in action, if you like, and ever improving, continuous improvement, there is always room for errors, and you do sometimes get shouted at, and you lose your train of thought. So it's not the same for everybody, but it is apparent that there is the appellant, appeal, repeal, appellant, the appellant courts. If you don't get your way with the initial presiding justices of the peace and the court venue there, then you have got the rights too, and you would go down with the higher courts and go as an appellant through the Supreme Courts and get it looked at again and adjudicated arbitrarily in a high court with a judicial review of some kind. And you see the magistrates, as far as I'm aware, and I've seen, we have been told by magistrates, I have been told, and Thomas has been told, that we presented one of the most articulate and concise argumentations regarding the defence of the claims made in that court that they'd ever seen. And that was some years ago in Oxford magistrates. And they had to deliberate from 5 to 5 until 25 past 5, and they had to take expert legal advice. So not everybody's in the same boat, but there is ways of forcing the presiding justices and magistrates at the time. It's not often that you'll get this in a high court. They are still sticky areas, but they're more knowledgeable and more competent at the operation and processes of the practice directions, whereas magistrates are trained and not knowledgeable, not legally trained, not legally licensed, not legally endorsed, not part of the London Temple BAR cult, and so it's a little bit more misty, Scotch mist, and vexatious in that respect. So you've got to recognise and know and fight for your rights. Otherwise, they will railroad you and take you down a road which is predetermined, lead you down that path, and you will hang yourself. So I respect what you say there, but horses for courses, and
I get you. But I'm just saying, like, because in most cases you have to ask the judge, like, permission. The word there, permission. Don't need permission, surely. Yeah, bring it. Yeah,
bring it. Yes, bruv. Yeah. Yes. Mediation. Mitigation, I don't remember now. I got a little note here to say mediation for families, what we're going to look at doing. And I say we, I mean myself. I'm not volunteering anybody. There's a chat going off in the public telegram that we've got, and the group there, and there was a dad, there was a mum with her new partner talking about the ex, which is the father of the children. I myself am a victim of parental alienation, and I've been let's say victim, it is quite rightly so with regards to that. There are reasons why I need to tread carefully here, but there is websites out there like Fathers for Justice, and websites that will just deal with men and father issues, and they encapsulate this as a malicious mother syndrome. I don't think all mothers are malicious. I think that's wrong in itself to promote such a narrative. It is a malicious parent syndrome, a parent who unjustifiably punishes their separated, husband, partner, by attempting to alienate their mutual children from the father or the mother, involving others in malicious actions against the father, engaging in excessive litigation. The parent specifically attempts to deny her child or his children, regular uninterrupted visitation with the parent, the separated parent, the one that is not the resident. Children being used, blood, assets, young stars being used as weapons, uninhibited telephone access to the parent that's separated, paternal participation in the children's school life and extracurricular activities. That's something that really got me, not knowing about Samuel and Brendan and how they was doing whilst I was trying to find out where they lived, because the mum had broke the court order. This pattern is pervasive and includes malicious acts towards the separated parent, including showing the children the blood. At law, they're called property. They're known as property, but your children telling lies to them about the other partner that is no longer with them, lying to others, friends and family about them, and various violations of law, like moving house and not telling me, the dad, where you've moved to, when I've spent 2 years and 20 grand to get a court writ from a Crown Court with a barrister, and having to go to the local pub to ask my mates where the mum is moved to, things like that. So it's known as malicious parent syndrome. It's a disorder. It's not specifically due to another mental disorder, although a separate disorder may coexist. So with that said, this is something why SPLS Pro is here, because as a father that learnt about legal personalities and legalese from his mum at the beginning of my quest and my baptism of fire to get access to my blood and prove that I'm a good dad, I learned a lot, and I created the Facebook entity known as, which turned into a trust of splspro.com, a private domain, Indiglo. I created Indiglo, the persona. I put on a mask of Indiglo to come out here and hide my pain. So Indiglo and the governor are my alter egos, where I could get David's emotions put to the back of my mind, and I could come out as somebody else, still true to myself, but put it in a third person narrative to say, hey, this shit's got to go. Have you heard about this? Do you know about that? What about this? What do you think about that? That's why all of this started. That's why this channel's here. That's then led to such things up to DCA, management, officer interaction, home security, trust law, equity, conditional acceptances. All of the things that we've found stemmed from court and blood and children. So whilst I was seeing this chat going off in the public Telegram group, I locked onto it by chance, the right time, the right place, and I said, okay, we can have a public chat about this now, and we can link up privately afterwards, and we have done so. I think that one of our callings, other than the entertainment and education that we do collectively, would be for us to consider, for me and SPLS Pro, as a line of interest for generation of donations for our trust, and as a sideline it would be protection of communities, title, property, blood, stopping families going to the legal system and 20 grand 2 years. Two parties go to court and both parties will lose, and the children will be affected, possibly irreparably damaged, irrevocably damaged by that process. So all things considered, who we are, what we do, and the reasons for it, I think that we should look at, we are going to look at, I'm going to look at on behalf of management for private mediation with regards to separation of the family unit. So that was interesting for me to stumble upon, and the universe has made me think, get back to the roots, get back to the beginning of what we set out for, why we was established, and how we've collectively come together. So I think there would be a lot of good done there for the families, for society, for the children, for the property there, and obviously for our trust to, the numbers are going backwards, 830 to 710. I don't mind saying, you know, there's pressure, financial commitments, uncertainty, and we need to promote safety, security, community, resources, and how to manage your estates effectively, and not going cap in hand and furnishing the pockets of those that are in such societies and institutions as, and managing. We promote private and the protection of the private, and the operation of you and your deeds in the private, and I think that we are going to capitalise somewhat, but not at your expense. No products, no services, no legal advice, no fees, no commercial, non-for-profit, as it is and as it always has been and will be. And we shall look at perhaps having a chat in the private with families that are falling apart, for the safety and security of all parties concerned in that family unit, in that tribe, in that clan, and moving forwards with that for the direction of our future, other than promotion and teaching of equity and trust, and helping it goes cap in hand with who we are, where we came from, what we do and why we do it. So with regards to
There is a
mediation,
moralic question too, also with this, and I think it is you as a parent, you should know the best for your child. Obviously, there is two parents, but if you leave that over to another person, then you have been showing that you are not able to take the decisions over your children, you know. So that is why you are losing it, you know. That is why they are taking your children, because you go there and say, I can't solve this myself. And as a parents, we need to take responsibility, and we need to say, okay, now we have a problem here. But if we go through the government's channel, you know, then we're going to have problems. So we better sort this out, you know. So you have to compromise, and it can be hard sometimes, but in most of the cases, it should be possible to solve it that way, you know. You solve it privately, honorable,
well
in a
said.
sovereign way.
Well said. Yeah, it's the protection is in the private. We have a private society. We are operating in the private at all times. We are non-commercial. You are non-commercial. Whether we look at it mosaically, Abrahamically, religiously, with scriptures, with our mind's eye in a fifth dimension, indiglo, rainbow, crystal, light workers, philosophical, metaphysical, physical. You know, we have to recognise our status, standing and capacity, and we can manage our estates and our affairs and conduct our business ourselves. The company that we keep, the companies that we do business with, you know, this is a bit of a tangent, but yeah, we should learn and have learned. We should have been taught and educated, but as Bob Marley said, you know, don't let them school you or even try to fool you. You know, stand up for your rights. Lyrics excerpt there that's encoded in. So we recognise what we have to do to get you stronger, so you can help us to help you. Simply put, there's options available there. We're good at what we do, and we're still here after, you know, we're going into our 5th year in the private with the domain. We've given you all of the information for free. We share, we care, we keep a medium amount in the private, which is because there is magpies of magics and thieves of tradition out there, which, as we've encountered, are capitalising on the information freely given, which I don't mind, because the universe has a way of paying those back. The law of attraction, Murphy's law, Sod's law, the power of intent on a spiritual, metaphysical level. And thank you, Menza, for your quantum comment there. That post was a generic post about general management society metastasizing into the age of darkness, leading up to the prophecies of the book of Revelation. We shall not, you know, people say it is said that it is hell on earth. To some instances, for the ones with closed ears and closed eyes and that self-medicate overly and rely upon and refuse to. In the age of information, ignorance is indeed a choice. So it is, you know, the darkness, the blackness, what was it now, the never-ending story, the nothingness, as it was called then in that film, you know, the dark crystal and the skepsis, and, you know, it's been put to us, it's been laid out over and over millennia, you know, and we've got to recognise that we need to rely upon ourselves, and we need our own resources, and we need to be able to counteract, counterclaim, and counter-defend our property and titles. And if we can show you how to do that, we can get something down, and we can get a foot in the door and become big in the game. Then that's as real as it is, you know, as simple as it is. And one of the reasons of which I think the universal laws would help promote and encourage, and you will start to share and profit and benefit from this, and so will we. So it's a complete circle, and it's an honourable, ethical, moral direction for us to follow, alongside the principles of trust law and the propositions of equity, and showing others what the you know, actual common law is really about. And I'm going to yield there and let others speak and read the room. Thank you for that. It's a hard, you know, if this was a business and I was in it for the money, I'd have given it up in year one. As I've said, the numbers on the website are going backwards from 800 and something down to 710, which is upsetting in a way, but you know, if people can't afford 25 pence a week or £12 a year, and they don't think there's value in the website, and that's fine. You know, who am I to argue? But there's a reason why it's been kept at that rate. A voice for people in poverty, for souls in poverty, and we accept, you know, that numbers go up as well as down. So I'm trying to work out how best to help the community, and we will be judged in years to come on what we do now. Our children's children will look back upon us and say, what, why did they, how did they, what happened here? You know, this Schwab guy and the WEF and the Davos and the IMF and the CFR and the, you know, I've done a lot of posts with these 3-letter abbreviations in of these controlling companies and organisations and factions and institutions. We should not be going to them. We should be doing it in-house privately, and if we can't, then we will manage our estates ourselves, and we will perhaps do what others have done and disappear from the public in due course, because we are forced to, and it is what it is, you know. So it is not a hell on earth. It's actually, when you open your eyes and you spend some time and you get with a community like this and you get the information, knowledge is key, knowledge is power. There's a law of equal exchange. We talk about legal contracts and the offer, the acceptance, and the 8 points in between the offer and the acceptance. And we've got a sacred contract. We've brought to you our universal declaration, universal remedy, non-sectarian universal remedy, where we declare the world's resources our common heritage again. We've created a Genesis, Exodus, Trust of Truth, where we show you how to proclaim your sovereignty, your incarnation as a living soul for free. We don't want $2,000 to show you how to be sovereign. Check out the videos on this channel and the playlist. It's all there. It is a beautiful, amazing, stunning, synchronistic, electromagneto, multi-dimensional, flux field of modality, divine comedy of such, of which, depending on your mindset and your energy and your thought and the things, you know, that you balance and how you are, it can be a hell on earth. And I've lived a hell on earth. I've felt suicidal, depressed. I've been in a dark place, and do you know what? It actually did me good, because it's in the dark that you grow. Somebody once gave me a seed in a matchbox, and I was like, what's going on here? He said, it's a box of darkness. And then that seed, I've planted the seed because I was depressed, and in that, and they just blew me away. And they're like, in the darkness, things grow. Stay in the darkness for as long as you need. Reflect, meditate, cry, shout, be angry. Go through the healthy degrees of separation from your blood. Feel the pain, know the pain, live the pain, but do not become the pain. Once you are ready, we will take you out of the dark and we will bring you into the light. And it is through experience and knowledge and skin in the game that you grow, and you can then come out. You know, we're not textbook academics that have learnt through books and no experience. We are the opposite. We are non-academic, and we've learnt through mistakes, through darkness, through growing in the darkness, and then coming out of the darkness and to dwell in the darkness, the dark side. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to fear. Fear leads to the dark side, young Jedi. So you see, it's given to you again. Lucas capitalized on it. It's put out there in TV, on Hollywood, and in many books and narratives, and it's true. You see, so the darkness is great for a little bit, but the dark days are over, and it can be shown to you how to find, as written in the good book and the Hebraic text there, the kingdom of heaven, and for you to command the universe, which is not occult, dark magic or anything like that. It's is beautiful once your eyes are open, and not to lose the fear, but to control the fear, and to have a healthy relationship with yourself. And as the Buddhist Zen-like Tibetans and Eastern Zen-like philosophy says, to be mindful and to grow, you know, and smoking cannabis 24/7 will not get you to that place. Drinking wine and alcohol and sedating with cannabis, with neurological toxins prescribed by the doctor and other such class A's and B's will not get you there, you know. So again, it's about yourself and management and the journey, and having some discipline, and coming through that and managing the emotions and not losing the fear but controlling it. I'm going to yield and let others speak and read the room, but thank you, and I hope that made sense.
I'm gonna give you an answer though. Yada yada yada.
You can eat a box of fish, Sweden.
Yeah.
Go on, Anders, give it to him. Yeah, I'm just scrolling back through the room because I've been outside. I'm just seeing if I've missed anything. Probably not.
Oi, I heard that. Heard that, you back to front.
Who's in front?
There's been another thing when I say the Genesis, Exodus, trust of truth, and proclaiming incarnation and living souls, then who's heard of the Bloods and the Crypts?
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, showing our age again. South Central, Compton.
They're still prevalent, mate.
I was inspired not just by the Abrahamic Accords, but when I used to listen to hip hop back in the day, when hip hop was hip hop, when it was fight the power, when it was real quality lyrical content, and it was amazing. And before Snoop and NWA and you know, KRS-One, OPP, Cypress Hill, House of Pain, and other such, Ice-T, Ice Cube, too many to mention, to be fair. The Crips and the Bloods, Islam, when I talk about the three major Abrahamic faiths, and Abraham, and what the power of knowledge and the contrast of spiritual messages, religious messages, mystical messages bring. The Crips and the Bloods, the peace treaty that they drew up together to cull, to quench, for the sequestration of the murders and the gangland violence from such places as South Central. Don't be a menace to society whilst drinking your juice in South Central. Quality, if you know that title. Give me a word up. That was modelled. The truce that the Crips and the Bloods drew was based on the Middle Eastern Abrahamic Accords, and by me hearing about the Crips and the Bloods led me to the Abrahamic Accords, led me to, which still hasn't been completed, work towards the Sovereign Republic of New Britain, comprised of private living souls, children of the Creator, under the guidance of the Lords. So it's inspirational, you know, and things get buried and hidden and forgotten. But I'd just like to do a quick reminder as to where the narrative came from, and the rhetoric that we have with regards to our lines, and inspired by such people as, and such acts as, back in the 80s, early 90s, hip hop society, before they sold out and ended up on MTV doing what they're doing today. You know, it's inspirational. Islam played a massive role. Basically, the nutshell, in Christianity, you can do what you want whilst you're on earth, and you can still get into heaven. Within Islam, you can't do what you want on earth, and you have to be like what Gurjit said when he come to the seminar and released what he released. He put his hands together, he bowed before us, and he said, in my culture, this is how we rock. This is as real as it is. And in Islam, whether you like it or not, or whether you're Islamophobic, is not my concern. I'm here to bring you the proof of the pudding and the facts. It saved a lot of blood. So that's a good thing. I'm not saying that the Quran is better than the Bible. I'm not getting into that. All I'm saying is that there is a clear contrast within the Abrahamic faiths, and if good can be done and lives can be saved, then how can you argue and complain about that? If people need to have a certain narrative put in front of them to stop killing, maiming, robbing, defrauding, committing common law offences, then so be it. And I just like to remind you of how things was and how they changed. And lastly, the crypts. They had a particular way of dancing on street corners, and people thought they was high on cocaine and off the face. In some instances, they may have been, but the dance that they did was actually a secret codified language known as crypt walking and crypt dancing. And when the 5-0 was coming, or they were watching out for some of their mates, you know, upstairs selling whatever. If they needed to get in touch before mobile phones, this is, yes, and I think pages may have been out, was they, in the 80s? They would do a particular dance, and that dance would tell the ones watching the language. And I'm like, no way, you know. So again, interesting line of thought. The first time I heard vexation was from Afro-Caribbean Jamaican speak. I'm like, what does vex mean? It means vexation. You know, the language that it's not Oxford English and it's not legalese. It's street language. It's street code. When you meet somebody from the street, they introduce themselves as Big Daddy Kane, as MCD, as an alter ego. They never give you their legal name. They don't answer to a legal name. They don't use a legal name. They have a code. They have the code of the street. And you call me Snoop. You call me Dre. You call me the Doctor, the Governor. You know, in Kevin's case, he's known as the living legend that is Kelvinius. Ganzders. Ganzders is ganzders, but anybody wanting to know legal identities isn't going to get that from that. So again, we all can learn a lot from one another on that front.
Well said.
Yeah, language, private, communication, and how we communicate and why. Yeah, it's to be considered, and we can learn, you know, different cultures influencing one another. It's brilliant. Don't vex me. I'm trying to think now of other such things that was said. That slang, Cockney rhyming slang, that's another eloquent language there. That just, you know, unless you know, you're never going to know. Code words. Codified speech. I find it fantastic. Gibberish. Double Dutch.
Yeah.
Back to the East India lot again.
So we've given you a lot to think about. We've covered a lot of topics. We've been on 2 hours now. I'm conscious of time. We don't need to leave, you know, now, but we could wrap it up and, you know, let you know that time is not on our side. Please feel free to review and have a look at the new document, complimentary document that can save you £159. And in this day and age, with regards to utility energy prices and the politics of the commercial realm, then with regards to BBC iPlayer and TV licensing, and avoiding a court appearance and £1,000 fine or even jail, allegedly, then please check out that document and review it and see what you think. Our gift to you. Clean hands as always.
Yeah. Wankers.
I did like Steve Barclay getting heckled by angry woman that YouTube presented to me the other day, saying lady caught him doing an interview. And
Oh,
said,
yeah.
about the ambulances. Here, Stephen, will you go sort these ambulances out? And that was absolutely...
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go to the community pages of this channel and feast your eyes on the recent post there. If you are in our private domain, much love and thank you. And you will see that that's been updated heavily over the last few days while I've been converting a loft and on time off from the warehouse.
I'm just going to respond to Mensa. Hello, Mensa. How are you, mate? He said, welcome back, Kevin. Hope your cat is okay. There's nothing wrong with the cat. Okay, let me just give you the... If you like peace and quiet, do not get a Siamese, all right? He's really affectionate. But here's the weird thing. It's only because the living room door is shut and he wants to go upstairs. But there's a window open in the hallway that he can get in. So all that noise was about was open the door for me or I'm going to just annoy you to death. That's all it was. He's lovely, but yeah, don't get a... If you like peace and quiet, don't get a Siamese. They follow you around the house talking to you all day long. And I'm proper talking to you. Continuous. It's like full sentences when they get going.
They are special. You don't own a cat. The cat owns you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so we've got 3 here. We did have 6 not that long ago, but we've got 3 now. 3 cats, 3 ridgebacks.
I don't know if any of you saw, to close down, I found the post that I did about the language of the legal system being bollocks. And if you haven't seen it, I shall read you the post in its entirety. It's only a minute or so, but it reads like this. SPLSpro.com and our Genesis, Exodus, Trust of Truth philosophy. We see the beauty in the Creator's universal rules and the universe's quantum laws that make up and are the entwined invisible codes of chaos, hiding behind the menacing face of order and physical or physical reality. Rules and etiquette, manners maketh man. We all have common duties and obligations relating to one another, the animals, the plants, and the environment. We are required to keep the balance and natural order of all life. Sovereign living souls, aka authentic beings, have no duty to recognise the legal constraints of the Law Society of Inner London and their society's bollocks. Remember my previous revelation on bollocks? B-O-L-L-I-X, redirected from B-O-L-L-O-X, also found in thesaurus, B-O-L.L-I-X, also bollocks. And there's a lot here, but it gives you the thesaurus information and descriptions and implied meaning, definitions. Informal, to throw into confusion, botch or bungle, manage to bollocks up the whole project. Alteration of bollocks, plural of bollock, testicle, see bollock. American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition, B-O-L-L-I-X. Informal, to botch or bungle, often to fall by up. Noun, a confused bungle. Alter of ballax, B-A-L-L-O-C-K-S, testicles, bollocks. Past participle, bollixt, which is B-O-L-L-I-X-E-D. Ergo, the name for the legal system is bollocks, to set into confusion. I found that quite hilarious, and I wanted to repeat that for those that know their bollocks is. So we talk bollocks, actually. We do not set or throw into confusion.
I think you can use that word in court. You know, I'm sure there'd be some eyebrows raised, but then you explain the spelling of it, and it's perfectly acceptable.
I've run out of steam. I'm tired. I'm weary. I've banged my head 5 times today. We cancelled last night's show because I'd got a pounding headache from going in. You know, the roof is an apex, and I've been working at the the eaves of the roof, putting down boards, moving and laying new fiberglass insulation with the correct garments and cover, but with the mask it still gets in behind the eyes, on your skin, sweating and banging, forgetting, and I've nearly injured myself with nails protruding that I didn't see. Just generally again tired, sweaty, hot work. There's been a builder come in, and the builder brought an engineer, which he charged for, to see about the structural integrity of the buildings and fabrication for the conversion of the loft. It's not just me and a drill and some screws. So this builder in the Midlands,
Some plywood.
yeah. Oh wow, this builder is very 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 good, and it's been done privately. And I can't say too much because we're live on Tube, but we're very happy with the services, and the private does hold a lot of benefits. I'll leave it there. Those of you that can read the subtext to that should know exactly what I'm on about. And the council have been informed, because it needs to be put onto the property deeds, that it's moved from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom. So unfortunately, when you are investing in property and doing such things as, you can just throw some boards down in a loft and use it for storage, or you can perhaps look at legally, lawfully making an extra bedroom onto the property, which means that the council planning department have to come out and give the all clear and meet with the builder, and the builder has to get an engineer's report to satisfy the conditions, as most builders would know, Stephen and Kevin and crew. Yeah, so that's what's happened and been done, and the reasons for that. And I was just really tired, and I am now, from drilling, hammering, screwing. He's put down the main area, and he's hanged a wall joist and put the timbers down and built the floor on that, put some fire escape and windows into the roof. So that's been done, and now we're just building on the ancillary parts, which are the cupboards, the alcoves, the recesses at the eaves, to put boards down, further space, building the cupboards and fabricating the wood to that, and it's just been a nightmare. So it's been good though. I do like carpentry, and I like holding wood in my hand.
Behave.
Oh, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could cook? Oh, I can never say it.
Yeah. Now you start to getting tired, David. Yeah.
That's his morning wood.
Yeah. Do you call a man with a plank of wood on his head? Ed Wood.
Even the cat's disgusted. She's looking at me, mate.
What do you call a man with a spade on his head?
Oh.
Doug. What do you call a man with a seagull on his head? Cliff.
Fucking hell.
Oh, come on. Dad jokes. As Peter Kay say. Bit of Blueford dads. Dad jokes. It's what we all are. Come on, you've got some dad jokes in there, Albert, Kevin, Ganzders.
Yeah, okay then. Why should you never run over an scouser that is bicycling?
Why should you never run over a scouser that is on a bicycle? Yeah. Because he'll be angry. Because you'll injure him. Common law.
No.
I can't think of a joke there. I'm struggling. Kevin, Albert.
It's the easiest in the world. It could be your bike, you know. They are stealing everything, the Scousers. That's what I've been told, you know.
Oh, because it could be your bike. That's the joke. Oh,
Yes. Well done.
that is
David has landed.
that is really bad of you to say. Good job you're in Sweden, or you'd have them. Hey, come on then, hey. Bless up. Sorry, Liverpool. You've got a shit council, but we know you're not all thieves.
All the time.
What do you call a man under a pile of leaves? Russell.
Russell.
Yes, Andy.
Oh.
Another dad joke. We've started it now. This is the long goodbye, and it's on shit dad jokes. Well,
They're not dad jokes, they are bad jokes.
yeah, right. Keep them clean. Come on, then. Have we got any mum jokes? I'm not a mum, so I don't know any jokes. But if there's mums out there, hit us up. Hit us up. Kevin's thinking. I can see the cogs turning. Kevin, that scratching of the chin, everyone, means he's thinking.
Yeah.
So long.
The trouble is, it's sorting through the ones that are suitable for broadcast.
Oh,
I know.
I'm reading Mr. Mensa's comment. Hey, I'm from Liverpool. Sorry, Mensa. It was not personal.
Come on, look at the scribes go. We're increasing on views now. Look at that. So, why did the bike turn up late? It was too tired. Oh. I walked into a bar with a piece of road tarmac under my arm, and I said to the barman, "I'll have a pint and 1 foot road." Walked into a bar with a piece of tarmac with a red line on it, and the barman refused to serve me, and I asked him why. He said, "Because you're a psychopath. Get out."
A man was walking into a bar with a parrot on his head. And then the bartender said, "How the fuck did that happen, you know? Because it was grown into his head." And then the parrot said, "It started with a hemorrhoid."
It started with a cyst. How did it end up like this? It started with a cyst. Sorry. There was a wig and a poo in the bar. And the wig walks up to the bar to ask the barman for another round. And he point blank refused. And the wig says, "Why not?" And the barman says, "Well, you're off your head and your mate's steaming." What do you call a fly with no wings?
Yeah.
If whistles are made of tin, what are foghorns made of? Mia just is. I'm waiting for the punchline. If whistles are made of tin, the answer's there. What are foghorns made of? Fog. I can't believe I actually had to ask you for the question. Burns in. We've got Burn in with a dad joke. What do you call a man with big shoes and no dog? Big Shoey Douglas. That's not even funny, but it's so shit. It's funny. I'm gonna cry. Oh wow. I'd tell you a joke about COVID, but 99.7 of you wouldn't get it. That's genius. That's not a dad joke. That is politicking. Excellent. Oh. I think we need to can it. Oh. Thank you.
I've done all right.
Oh, I'm gonna copy Andy's one. That one, if I tell you a joke about COVID, but 99.7. That one had to go up in a chat. Yeah, I don't know if there is so much more we can say here now.
No, we've had a good run. We've satisfied the room. We've brought a lot of good topics of discussion. We started the show with an excellent narrative with regards to arrest, caution, rights to silence, the Fifth Amendments. We've covered recent events. There's a lot of strikes happening. Good luck catching a train. The barristers' associations are striking. There's strikes left, right, and centre. The government's collapsing. The financial interest rate and inflation is way out of kilter. Shit's hitting the fan. Babylon is indeed the empire is taking a hit from every direction. We have to make light of where we're at. Disabled, less abled, can't afford to have their electrical items on, heat themselves. We've got such deficit now, abstract poverty. Oh wow, it really is a bad way. And between ourselves, with the resources, what we do, laugh or cry, fight or fly. I think we've had a good night tonight. We had a good show at Rick Mansworth. More to come. We will be back in full force with more humour, less dad jokes, and more articulation of what you need. 9-year-old shot in Liverpool, stabbings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's just come to mind, Liverpool and the connection there as well. I don't know whether it's just they're reporting more on what's been happening for a long time, but they haven't been reporting it, bringing it to the forefront. But again, with abstract poverty, abject poverty in general, the way that this is going with the private banking cartel, the government, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, printing to infinity. We knew this was coming. To some extent, echoes of Donald Trump and certain speeches he made coming back to slap mans in the face, and others, Italians and other governments that have spoken. We've seen a lot. It's been brought and shared in our groups and on YouTube. The way that the world's voices have been quashed and quelled. But again, this hate crime, knife crime, stabbing, everything that's going off, even police officers, Sarah Everard incident, it's just everywhere and everything. As I've said, we're not living in a hell, but we are living in a time where the Kali Yuga may indeed be upon us, as I was talking to Eric with my comments the other day with regards to the Club of Roma, the New World Order. So yeah, stick with it, be strong, stay with us, and look after one another, please. Yeah.
And thank you for tonight, everybody. New people as old members.
Yeah, nice one. Everybody in the room, thanks for joining us as usual. So there's some new names in there I haven't seen before. Thanks for popping by. You know we are if you need anything. And I'm sure we'll see you all real soon.
Yeah, if Kamon's still here, who's been preaching and putting in some relevant chapters and verses there, to go to Sanskrit, India, and that kind of theology, then the last battle during the end of Kali Yuga or Dark Age is fought in the mind of human beings who are called to choose between love and fear. We somewhat should be entering the Golden Age, the fifth dimension, the age of enlightenment. We got Klaus on about the great resets. Then it doesn't mean the end of the world as such. It just means the apocalypse. Is a Greek for. Can we remember? I'll leave that with you. But we've got to recognise that there is cyclical events and solar celestial events. There are mental type, metaphysical events, death and rebirth of Christ there, and born again into and unto. When you are thinking about challenging the legal system or defending claims, counterclaiming and etc., and you lose and you have to carry on fighting and they crucify you, just remember that the mystical character in the world's greatest story ever told, that being Christ Jesus, was crucified time, well, not time and time again, but he was crucified once, but he was given a shit time on in his existence, and eventually crucified for doing and believing what was right and standing up to the game there in the dark ages of those times, 2,000 years ago, 033 as it is written. So remember that that's the test there from this dark, satanic, Kabbalistic, legal Club of Rome system that we find ourselves in. And if people laugh at you for having different opinions, and they belittle you, and they think you're, you know, on a different plane, then what they say and what they repeat is a direct reflection of themselves. When they talk about you to others, or they belittle you and they say certain things and they critique you and they just besmirch your good name in front or away from, slander, defamation, etc., then that's just a reflection of them and who they are. Keep strong, keep the faith, keep the love, keep doing what you're doing, and help us to help you in any way that you can. We try to repay that as much as we can. We value your time, your viewership. Thank you for my channel members. Thank you for the admins and what you're doing. Ganzders, you're a living legend, much like the man here, Kevin, for what you do and your attentiveness with the Telegram and the interaction there. Albert, I haven't forgotten you, my good man, and what you do. You're all equally loved by me. You're respected, you're valued, you're entrusted. And I just need to close down with something like that. Big love and bless up.
Yeah, but we have Claire also to thank for the good work. And remember, all of you, Jesus, he was just not hanging once there on the cross. He's still hanging there for us. Good
Yes,
night, everybody.
And if anybody's researched that, well done. I am not mentioning it. I'm not going to explain it. It was something that I saw whilst in Hungary, and I saw the crown, and then I looked at that, and then on the back, it's got rather a nice little. Oh, look at me getting on all fours on sofa. It's got a nice little bit of his work there as well. So yeah, not bad for a £12 T-shirt, unique, and I'll let you find out what that is. But I thought it was appropriate to us, to our cause.
Is it sovereign in Hungarian?
No, but good effort. No, it's not sovereign. It's French, and it's the name of a soul, and he's creative. Is all I can tell you. People will be searching that now, and there you go. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Discovery is a wonderful thing.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Let's go. Thank you, boys. Thank you to everybody.
Stay safe.
No worries. Albert, night, mate. Night, Anders.
Night.
Dave,
Take care.
probably. Yeah, and you. Dave will probably catch up with you tomorrow, mate.
Yes, I bless up. Thank you, scribes. Thank you, channel members. Thank you all. Thank you, David. Let's end
Thank
this.
you, David.
Yes, we've got to thank ourselves. All right.
We love you too, David.
Hello.
Bless up. Ciao.
Night.